Is this what I just ran over in the street? Was the water pipe?
Looks like his water pipe.
Good evening, everybody. This is Pamela checking in on a video vlog, chat, speakeasy. I wanted to get on here real quick before bed because by tomorrow I'll be having time with family for Easter. Today, people out there in Littleton, Colorado, were celebrating the memory of the victims of Columbine High School. Rather than sit around home and do nothing, some people went out in the community and was working on beautification projects to honor those victims. I know it's been 20 years. Can you believe it? I remember seeing some news footage back in the day when it happened. And sadly, this shooting that happened 20 years ago became the blueprint of people who want to copycat this type of crime. People like Tom Mauser took the time to remember their lost family members that have died in that situation 20 years ago. I want to wish the Mauser family and all the other families that were affected by this all the best in the world and all the love and props. Seeing as how we're into the time of Easter, go and spend time with your families tomorrow. And when you get a chance this week, do an act of good. Go out and plant trees. Go and visit a neighbor. Help the elderly. Donate to cancer societies. Donate to end gun violence. We need that. I would have done this video vlog earlier, but I had a house to clean. As we all know, tomorrow's Easter. I don't intend to come home to dirty dishes in my sink. Nope. So I thought I'd get the house done. And let's see. Just got a lot of things going on. Getting ready for my birthday here in less than 11 days. I don't know what we're going to do for that. And I got to get my brother a gift because for those of you that don't know, I have a twin brother. And we're going to be turning 48. And I don't think turning 48 is so bad, but I don't know how I'm going to handle 50 here in less than 2 years, but we'll wait and see on that front. But can you believe we're almost toward the end of April already? Where does the time go? The weeks seem to fly by anymore. My mom always used to say, the older you get, the faster it goes. And I believe she was right. She would have been about 84 this year. 83? I think she would have been about 83 this year. My father would have been 84, May 12th. And each year that passes, it gets easier. But there are times I go back through that grieving process. Holidays were pretty big around the house. When we had all the family here, it was great. But then when you're missing somebody in your life, like your mother or your father or even your grandparents, leaves a big void. I think the only thing I'm going to be doing tomorrow is just relaxing and trying to take in the quiet. I probably won't be talking too much. I probably won't be eating too much because, as you all know, I'm on a diet. And I'm trying to get all the cholesterol out of my system. And so far, the vegetables and healthier eating habits seem to be helping my body flush out whatever's making me feel heavy. It's not easy, but the changes I've made have made a positive difference, I think. I feel a lot better. I'm getting ready to check in with the Live PD Nation. I think there's a new one on tonight. I haven't seen much of Columbus on the last couple of weeks, so I really been taking a break from the show. But I just thought I'd check in and let you all know about what's going on with me. I know I sound tired. I am. Been having a hard time sleeping. But just trying to get some things done. How many of you are going out to visit family on Easter Sunday? What are your plans for Easter Sunday? Anybody got anything you're doing with family, friends, colleagues? You know, I don't know if any of the places are going to be open tomorrow, like Easton. I know a lot of people tend to go to the movies during holidays. Lay low, right? Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be in the mood for no real small talk with my sister. Because in a few short years since my mom died, she's been trying to get me to move out of this house that I'm in. Ain't no way I'm going to do that. You know, and I've been trying to stop eating so much grease. I try to get meals that have rice in it and a lot of vegetables. And so far, I'm doing really good with that. And I've been drinking not orange juice, but tomato juice for the longest time. You ever had V8 tomato juice? That's only like, 45 calories a serving? And I could have that. And I've had my Special K cereal, the one with the yogurt and the plain Special K. V8. Yeah. I thought since I don't have, I try not to overpay on vegetables. Some things are more expensive than others. And I think the best way to get your vitamin C and all your nutrients is in tomato juice. My mom used to drink it all the time, and it's better than trying to cut the vegetables yourself and grind it. I used to drink it a lot when I was a kid. I thought my brother was going to go out and buy me some cans. They usually sell it in cans. But he bought like this giant plastic bottle of it, and I love it. If I don't really feel like eating anything, I have a glass of tomato juice, and I'm good. There was one night I made up a big bowl of that. And I can't really lift heavy juice things, the plastic jugs. I don't have much in the way of arm strength up here, and I really don't have any center of balance anymore to be lifting things and putting it in the refrigerator. So I get like the plastic bottles. I set it on my walker. I take it over to, the Special K with the, I mixed a little bit of the normal Special K and the stuff with the yogurt one night for dinner. And it was good. It's good. And if I eat something like that compared to greasy potato chips, if you eat stuff like Special K or maybe Wheaties, you might be more satisfied. I think that greasy chips and cookies are just like empty calories. It makes you more and more hungry. And I noticed that my body doesn't feel as heavy as it usually does. Yep. Totally cutting back on unhealthy foods. If I wanted a snack, I'll have a bowl of cereal, or sometimes I would eat the Special K dry for like a mini snack. I could eat a couple bites of that and I'm good. And it's a really good alternative to having greasy snacks. For the first time in a long time, I had my brother make me a bowl of popcorn. So, yeah. I said, John, can you make me a small bowl of popcorn? He's like, yeah, sure. Crispix dry. My mom used to make something called Muddy Buddies with Crispix. She used to take, you mix up the chocolate and the peanut butter together, and then you put powdered sugar on the top. That's something good to have at Christmas time. You know what I think? For the sake of my birthday, they'll probably give me gift cards anyway, and I'm going to ask her. I said, do you think you could make me some Muddy Buddies for my birthday? I don't have it that often. I certainly didn't have it this year at Christmas. Why don't you make me some? My mom liked stuff like Crispix and Honey Bunches of Oats. She even liked Lucky Charms. My favorites was always Tricks. Tricks are not for kids, or Tricks are for kids. And my mom used to have that, and she used to have. She used to drink like a ton of tomato juice and eat grapefruit. Fruity Pebbles, oh yeah, and Cocoa Pebbles too. I used to have those at my grandmother's house. Used to have like mini boxes of cereal, the little tiny jobs with the corn pops and everything in it. And it was great. And the new cereal that I'm eating now, the one with the yogurt, it's not as bad. It's got like those little crunchy things in there, like little crunchy oat things in it, which is really good. I would eat a whole box in one sitting. I know. I'm a sucker for sweet cereal, especially when I get to that time of the month, which thankfully I'm probably done. I'm down to next to nothing now. And it's been, I think my monthlies have changed because usually I had like 12 or 13 in a bag. I would go heavy for 1 or 2 days and then it would go light. And then, I finished out my old bag and my brother bought me a big one in case. And I probably won't need to open my new bag until the next time. So, yeah. So I know my body is definitely changing, and I think it was for the good. So I certainly do feel better. And the only thing I really had outside was Chinese, and that was at the beginning of the month. I called my brother at work, and I said, John, can you pick me up some Warsu Guy and brown rice and some crab rangoon? And I even got a egg roll with that type of meal. So I had it over 2 days. I ate the Warsu Guy chicken and most of the rice the first night. And then I finished it up with a couple of chicken patties cut up. And I put some of that gravy that they put on it. And you would never know that I used a banquet chicken patty to make to zest up the leftovers. My brother said, you did what? I said, took a couple chicken patties, cooked them up, cut them up, and put it on top of the leftover rice and lettuce. And it was just like having Warsu Guy, but without all the dried shit that's left. So, yeah. My favorite was Cookie Crisp, with the little wizard on the box in the old days. And then it had like the little wolf later on the package. Alphabets was another. Honeycombs was another. That's another cereal my mom liked, was Honeycombs. My passion was Apple Jacks. But I got to cut back on the sugary stuff. I want to make my doctor proud. I don't want to blow this. I go back in August. And I've noticed that my body has changed for the good. And I told my brother, I said, if we're having ham tomorrow, I'm not going to be able to eat too much of that because it's all salty. I'll have a little bit of everything, but not to the point where I'm going to gain weight again. I can't. So, I'm trying to get my health back in check, and I'm doing good. I'm feeling better. Just need to get my sleeping habits back under control. It's been 70 something degrees earlier in the week, and then it was cold last night. For some reason, I just couldn't sleep. Was up till about 3 o'clock in the morning. Tossed and turned half the night. Watched some Netflix, and and it's crazy. But I would think that for Easter, they would run some Easter type cartoons like the Easter Chipmunk. They would run stuff like, let me see what other Easter cartoons that they have.
Let's go to Greene County.
Easter cartoons.
Responding to a call from the owner of a salvage yard, says he's holding two people there who he says were stealing items.
I've seen some for Berenstain Bears, Caillou, Easter Breakfast Caillou. And it's just sad. It's just sad. A lot of people give Caillou crap for being a kid. And it's just sad. My favorite was the Easter Chipmunk with Alvin and the Chipmunks. Easter's coming, and the boys see the Easter Bunny, Mr. Hoppity, and what Alvin, Simon, and Theodore fail to realize that he delivers 3 Easter baskets. And a story comes out in Alvin's mind that there's an Easter chipmunk, not an Easter bunny, that delivers Easter baskets. And Alvin is so out to prove that his Uncle Hoppity is the original Easter chipmunk. And it was one of the last great specials before VHS was basically the end of be-all existence. I haven't seen that special in a while, but I think Alvin wants to prove to the world that Mr. Hoppity is not the original Easter bunny. In fact, I think one of his relatives is the original Easter chipmunk. So he devises a plan to go to Bunny Central and expose this guy for who he is. And it's a real old special, and it was done in 2D style. It's not the newer version that's out. And I thought it was one of the last great specials that the Chipmunks had before the year 2000. Let's just face it. But we all know what Easter is really about, but I'm not going to talk about the religious side of it because I don't really want to force that down people's throats. I'm not in the church, as they say. I would rather focus on the fun things that Easter has to offer. Beautiful days, hanging out with family and eating good food and sharing good company. Isn't that what Easter should be about? And if you want to do something to honor Columbine, do good for your fellow guy, because there's going to be a time when we all really need each other. And speaking of that, I was on somebody's channel last night that was talking about Easter, and I joined in on the conversation, and we talked a bit about the dumpster fire, if I want to say that. And this guy that I talked with is a Trump supporter, but we had a rational conversation. He tells me not to believe the mainstream media. And I said, well, what about the grab him by the pussygate? Even though it may be locker room talk, one guy loses his job and Trump gets the White House. Anybody else caught doing the locker room talk or boinking somebody else, they would be fired. And I said, I have my reasons for not trusting Trump. I have my absolute reasons for not trusting Trump. One, we all know he's an asshole. And two, his actions are very extreme. He says one thing and does another. And I said, I just have my reasons. And I said, I learned a long time ago that I have to watch out for myself. I have to watch out for myself. I have to do what's right for me and not what the orange man has to say. And he said back, he says, do you think it's right to call him orange when people have such a fit about somebody being black? And I said, well, he's said things that aren't becoming of a president, and he's talking about different races. He went after the Muslims and mocking disabled people. You start doing that, the gloves come off. You start doing that, the gloves come off. And the guy said that he does this stuff to get back at people who don't like him. But I said, I see something like that on TV, it upsets me. Especially him cutting down one of our military people for being captured in the line of duty. It happens. It's part of the job. And I said, I didn't get a chance to tell this guy. I said, my father was a proud Air Force man who went into the service, kept the planes flying. He said he wasn't on the front lines, but it sure felt like it at times. And I said, yeah, Dad, I know. I said, I know. There's times when somebody would go to bed at night in the service, and you have that thought when you go to bed. Am I going to wake up tomorrow morning? Am I going to see my family again? And some of the things that Trump does is very strange. And I started looking around the internet about Trump's bizarre behavior. And on my discussion area earlier tonight, I wanted to talk about Trump's bizarre behavior, him wandering off, not knowing where his car is. He would get off the airplane and he would walk in a particular direction looking for his car. And I think medical professionals and people that have talked to these medical professionals would voice their concerns. They say, I've been watching Trump a lot lately. And some of his actions remind me of my Aunt Clara or my Uncle Bill, that is exhibiting the same kind of signs of confusion, the slurring of speech. They talked about this guy, Mr. Apple, and he mispronounced this guy or didn't remember the name of the guy, and it's scary. But over the coming weeks, I'm going to be restructuring some of my playlists and deleting some playlists. Because the newest one I set up about Trump's bizarre behavior, I said, is Trump going to end up like Glenn Campbell? Because I think you should look at that playlist, and it's very interesting. You ought to hear and see what some of these medical professionals are talking about. And it's just like with Glenn Campbell's situation. It starts out very small, and then over the coming years, you could kind of see things get worse gradually, and then it would get really bad to where he's paranoid, and people think that, people like that think that others are stealing from them. Watch the film I'll Be Me with Glenn Campbell. And even his own daughter, Ashley, said, I think when she was still in high school, he was starting to exhibit symptoms of the disease. And it's sad. I'm not saying Will Trump end up like Glenn Campbell to be funny? I'm being downright serious. Look at the videos. I got some videos in there. And like I said, I got to rework some of those lists to get things organized and in better order. So you got to give me some time on that. But I'm going to get ready and get off. It's 9:15 and I got to be in bed and up early in the morning. So have a safe Easter. Spend time with your family. Do whatever fun things you want to do. And for God's sake, don't drink and drive. It's not worth putting your life behind the wheel if you're drunk. So take care of yourselves. And I'll get back on tomorrow night if I'm not too tired. Have a good Easter and love one another. Bye.
She's got these inside her bra.